Okay, good morning Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa regular press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Philippines, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps. Again, will you please join me in a moment of silence as we offer prayer for the victims of the passenger bus which plunged into a deep ravine in Occidental Mindoro. The Palace expresses its deep sympathies with the victims, to their families and friends. Nananawagan po kami sa lahat, lalo na sa mga tsuper ng bus, na iba yung pag-iingat, lalo na at papalapit na ang Semana Santa at summer break, kung saan libo-libo sa ating mga kababayan ang luluwas at uuwi sa kanilang mga probinsya. Moment of silence, please. Let me go to the good news. This first piece of good news will make the opposition very sad. Filipinos are happy people, and the latest social weather station survey conducted December 8 to 16, 2017 highlights this. 94% of Filipinos are very or fairly happy with life in general. SWS considers this a record high, surpassing the previous 92% registered 22 years ago. It is worth mentioning that of the 32 surveys conducted by SWS since 1991, 3 of the 5 instances wherein over 90% said they were very or fairly happy took place during the Duterte administration. These were December 2016, September 2017, and December 2017. Indeed, genuine change under the leadership of President Duterte, which has been felt by our people, coupled with their hope for a better future under the current government, certainly makes Filipinos across all geographic areas happy and the opposition sad. We are pleased to announce the report of the Department of Finance that the revenue from tax collections in 2017 reached 2.251 trillion pesos, which represents 14.25% of gross domestic product. This is considered as the highest tax effort in 10 years prior to the introduction of these laws. We take note of the thousands of members of the New People's Army who have accepted the offer of the President to lay down their arms and restart to live normal lives. To date, 4,356 regular members and supporters of the New People's Army have surrendered nationwide from the 1st of January to 15 March 2018, according to the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The military expects more surrenderies as former rebels and supporters divulge corruption and saw the pattern of deception being done by their leaders, including propaganda and false promises. We're pleased to announce that Manila, particularly Ninoy International Airport, ranks 10th in the World Airport Awards for Most Improved Airports in the World 2018. According to Skytrax, the leading global source of airline ratings and reviews, the award for the world's most improved airport is based on a relative year-on-year quality performance by all airports featured in the World Airport Survey. Survey was conducted from August 2017 to February 2018, covering 550 airports worldwide. Proof that we are committed that no Filipino learner should be left behind. Almost 4,000 unenergized public schools in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas will benefit in the launching of the computerization and solar power project by the Department of Education and UN Development Program. Project is expected to provide access to laptops powered by solar power to identified schools, which should raise the ICT literacy of our school children. Would you like to have our guests now, or would you like to ask questions first?
Questions first.
Okay, questions first.
Okay, sir. Sir, welcome lang natin yung mga estudyante sa La Verdad, sa Caloocan.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay. Raymond Tinasa. Microphone, Pia.
Sir, good morning. Sir, dun sa nangyari sa Dimple Bus, kasi parang I think it's not enough na yung operator yung managot dito. Kailangan din siguro may mabitay sa LTFRB. Kasi as if it seems that they are not doing their duty to conduct regular inspection at nangyayari yung mga itong every now and then may nangyari tapos dapat proactive sila, hindi yung nagre-react na lang pag may nangyaring trahedya, mga ito, aksidente. Sir, don't we expect na may something na, or someone to be relieved or dismissed from LTFRB?
Antayin muna natin kung ano talagang magiging resulta ng investigasyon. Kung ito po'y resulta ng kababayaan ng mga taong gobyerno, syempre po, meron na namang masisibak. Pero sa ngayon po, nagpaparating lang po kami ng pakikiramay sa mga pamilya ng nasawi. Darating po tayo sa punto na bibigyan natin ng katarungan yung mga nasawi.
Saka, can we expect also na kasi nandyan, naglilipa na pa rin even sa EDSA and even yung mga provincial buses, yung mga kambal plaka, yung mga sa makulurum, when do we expect a real audit of this mga sa plaka nila?
Nako, continuing naman po yan, effort, no? Doon nga sa mga jeepneys at saka pagdating sa mga public utility buses din, no? Dahil nga po sa issue ng traffic, no? Pinapainting din po ang kampanya laban po sa mga kolorum, no?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, may follow-up? Rose Sabinario.
Sir, good morning.
Yes, Rose.
Kasi po yung LTFRB sa mga nakaraang mga kaso ng ganyan mga aksidente, parang nagiging pa po sila sila pa yung nagiging tulay ng bus operator para aregluhin yung mga pamilya ng biktima. Ano ho yung panawagan nyo sa LTFRB? Ipagpatuloy ba nila yung ganitong ginagawa nila or may
ang
bago
problema
ba kayo?
po kasi, talagang sa batas natin, quasi-delict po, no, kapag namatay dahil sa isang vehicular accident. So talagang po pwede pong magkaroon ng compromise agreement, no, kapag dating sa quasi crimes, no, gaya ng reckless imprudence, no. So sa akin po, talaga pong ang batas ang mismo nagsasabi na po pwedeng maareglo yan, pero siguro bibigyan natin ng reminder ang LTFRB na meron din silang katungkulan na mag-supervise, no, ng mga public utilities at kinakailangan nga paintingin yung kampanya ng LTFRB pagdating sa maintenance ng mga bus at saka dun sa continuing effort na dapat maitaas ang kakayahan ng mga public utility bus drivers.
So, i-discourage po natin yung LTFRB na maging tulay ng pakikipag-areglo ng mga bus operators.
Hindi po natin magagawa yun kasi inaalaw talaga ng batas yan. At when the LTFRB acts as a bridge, doon din po papunta yun. Miski magkasuhan, pupunta rin po yan sa settlement. No? Dahil nga allowed ang settlement sa mga quasi-crimes. Ang sasabihin po natin is, bukod pa doon, kinakailangan paintingin yung kanilang responsibilidad na siguraduhin na mga public utility buses are well-maintained and the drivers are up to date as far as skills development is concerned.
Thank you.
May follow-up? Other issue? Iya Gutierrez.
Sir, President Duterte, sir, on Tuesday mentioned a supposed conspiracy between the ICC and the Filipino-American philanthropist, Ms. Loida Nicholas Lewis. He mentioned having a transcript of a wiretap phone call regarding the ICC's preliminary examination. Sir, do you have more details on this, sir?
I don't, unfortunately. It's just the president who mentioned it. I'm not privy to information that was given to the president.
Regarding Ms. Lewis po, meron din po ba tayong information and why does the President think na she is capable to conspire with the ICC against the President?
She's rich. The ICC accepts donations from private persons and organizations. And I do know that particularly on the reparation fund, the ICC welcomes donations from everyone.
Pero ano po kaya yung connections niya, sir, and her motivations to conspire against the President?
Civil society kasi is given a very big role in the ICC. In fact, in the policy-making meetings of the Assembly of State Parties, as I said, I've attended many of these meetings representing civil society. No? So this is, I guess, an unusual feature of the court. Although it was established by states, civil society is given a very strong voice. And of course, if you look at the Rome Statute itself on issues of reparations, this is an innovative feature of the court, no? That civil societies are allowed to assist victims, no, of cases being heard by the court.
Sir, do you have information ng mga civil society groups kung saan nagdo-donate si Ms. Lewis?
No, I have no information right now.
And also, sir, in an interview, sir, yesterday, yung Russia, sir, expressed support for the Philippines withdrawal sa kanilang ratification, sa ating ratification ng Rome Statute. What can the palace say about it?
That's to be expected, and we'd like to thank Russia for such a comment. The president has said that he is enjoining other countries of the world to withdraw from the ICC. I have read reports that countries like South Africa, although it has relented from its earlier decision to withdraw from the court, will initiate withdrawal proceedings again. No? So the Philippines is not alone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, follow up, Raymond Tinasa.
Sir, I understand the ICC released a statement that they will still continue with their preliminary investigation regardless if the Philippines withdraw from the Roman statute. But what if yun nga itutuloy nila, the ICC will ask the president's comment or respond, or will summon him or his answer to the allegations? Will you still submit any answer or just ignore the process?
The president has not made any directive in this regard. However, when the ICC said that we continue to be bound by a duty to cooperate, I'd like to reiterate that the president's decision was to immediately withdraw. I don't think the ICC can look forward to cooperation from the Philippines as a state party or a soon-to-be former state party to the International Criminal Court.
And what can we expect if there is no cooperation from the party, the Philippines?
I do not know how the ICC can proceed without cooperation from the Philippine state.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, may follow up. Rose Novenario.
Ay, sir, good morning po ulit. Sir, in case na i-push nung ICC yung pag-imbestiga kay Presidente Duterte, saan naman po pwedeng magpunta yung Pilipinas para ireklamo naman po yung ginagawa ng ICC against the Philippines?
Well, halos wala naman pong mga miyembro dito sa ating part of the world sa ASEAN, no, na member ng ICC. So, hindi po masyadong malaking sagabal yung mangyayari na yan dahil ang sinasabi ko nga po, wala pa pong universal ratification ng ICC. There's only 124, now 123. If reports are accurate, it might even be another state leaving, South Africa, 122. And the major countries such as the United States, Russia, and China are not parties to the ICC. So, I think the ICC has to rethink its options because they are at the crossroads. We could prove the ICC as being inutile, and the ICC need only blame its prosecutor for violating the principle of complementarity.
Okay, follow up, other issue. Joseph Morong. Microphone.
So regarding Boracay, no? Because I understand some of the resorts there, parang hindi na sila binibigyan ng credit line because may uncertainty whether Boracay will be closed or not. When the president said that he is supporting whatever General Año will be recommending, paano ba yun, sir? Are we going to have an announcement of the closure or of the rehabilitation phase? Can we be maybe a little assuring or at least specific as to the direction of the palace?
No specific instruction has been made by the president, and if he has made a decision, then I would most certainly be the first to announce it. So right now, there's not been any decision.
So right now, status quo dapat.
Right now, it's status quo. There's a recommendation, but the president will act on it. And I will verify later in the day from Cabinet Secretary Ibasco if the issue of Boracay will be included in the next cabinet meeting scheduled for the 3rd of April.
April 3 pa.
That's the next cabinet meeting.
So sir, halimbawa, I mean, I'm coming from the point of view of yung mga kababayan natin who might be planning to go to Boracay. No, can I still proceed with my
Proceed to Boracay, especially since it's Holy Week. No, I don't think any closure will happen during the peak season of Boracay. We're looking at possibly, if the president finally accepts the recommendations, lean season.
MPC questions? Laila Salaveria.
Good morning. Sir,
Incidentally, before we proceed, there was a letter which was copy furnished me, an offer from Boracay 2B to do the drainage of Boracay for free, coming from Macro Asia, which is the owner of Boracay 2B, one of two water concessionaires in Boracay.
Sir, do you think Malacañang has to study the plan to open 2 new casinos in Boracay in light of the President's desire to rehabilitate the island?
Well, I don't really know how the temporary closure will affect the casinos, no, because they will have to construct, no. But what I do know is there's a moratorium right now in place for any further improvements in Boracay. So, gaya ng sinabi ko po the last time, no, caveat developer. Warning to the developer, they should know that all their development plans hinges on what the president will decide upon on the issue of Boracay, no. But right now, there's a moratorium on new improvements, so they can't build even if they wanted to today, no, because of the moratorium.
But after the improvements are made,
After the improvements are made, no, I highlight to add that the problem of Boracay is really disposal of wastewaters into the oceans, which should not have been a problem because the law says that all resort owners or all those with 50 plus capacity should have their own wastewater treatment, STP, no? So that the water being discharged into the ocean would already have been treated, no? Now, obviously, not all establishments complied with this. The option is to connect with the existing sewage system maintained by Manila Water or Boracay Water in Boracay. The problem is all the existing infrastructure appear to be insufficient now, which explains the backflow of sewage materials even in 7-star hotels in Palawan. So there's really an imperative to construct drainage and sewage systems in the entire island of Boracay and to enforce the requirement that all resorts should have STPs or wastewater treatment facilities or to adopt a zero discharge, where water, like in, I understand in Shangri-La, Boracay, there is a policy of zero discharge, which means that all water, in fact, is cleaned and recycled for other purposes, So I do not know if the zero discharge will be part of the recommendation for Boracay. I would think it should, but at the very least, all resorts should have their wastewater treatment facilities.
but sir, some observers say the problem with the sewerage, a contributing factor to this is the overdevelopment of the island. So would it be wise to have 2 new casinos
That's
there?
what I'm saying, no? If there's a closure or whatever happens to Boracay, what's imperative now is to lay down expanded infrastructure for both drainage and sewage treatment facilities, no? And that's the argument for closing Boracay because you can't dig the roads, you can't put wastewater treatments under the road, you can't expand the roads if you have people, tourists lurking around Boracay, no? So they want to, the way I understand it, because yesterday I had a conversation with DNR and DILG, is that they want to close it so they can do all the required capital investments, for drainage and sewage treatment, unimpeded by tourists and other individuals, So if they decide to actually construct wastewater facilities and drainage systems, they would have to destroy all roads, expand all roads, put treatments under the roads, and that's why there appears to be a recommendation to close Boracay for that purpose, so that major infrastructure construction works can proceed unimpeded.
So inayos natin for future
Yes, so
businesses.
it doesn't matter. Well, of course, no. Well, we're fixing it so that it becomes a sustainable environment. It can be sustainable. It can support huge developments as it was originally envisioned during the time of Imelda Marcos, They wanted it to be a modern Monaco, That's why they issued a PD that it is a tourism reserve. That was the idea, But they never just built the infrastructure, They should have built the infrastructure when Boracay was pristine, but they perhaps did not envision that Boracay would be the best beach in the world, attracting this much crowd, today.
Thank you.
Okay. Follow up, Boracay. Joseph.
Sir, if I may be direct na, Kasi may mga impressions sa online and some observers na parang, okay, i-close nyo yung Boracay pero may papapasukin pala kayo yung sana. Meaning, yung intention to really clean up Boracay is really, it doesn't appear to be such, no? Na parang mas ang priority is to maybe give way. Just
No,
answer the
I don't
allegation.
think so, because if they build a facility as big as they want to build, perhaps the DNR will require what Shangri-La Boracay has, which is zero discharge. When we talk about zero discharge, that means they're actually reusing all wastewater, no? Treating it and reusing it either for flushing or for gardening purposes, no? So, an establishment as billed as this casino will probably be required to have not just an STP but a water recycling treatment facility, no? So the size will not matter for as long as the necessary infrastructure are there.
Jopel?
Sir, yung national ID system na approved na sa
Senate.
Senate and nasa palasyo na po ata yung bola.
Na-approve na ba siya sa House then? Na-approve na rin sa House, no?
Yes.
So it will be submitted to the palace, but I do not know if they have already a BICAM. The next procedure is for the Senate and the House to reconcile the respective versions, no? After which it will be ratified by both houses. So I would say before they go on sine die adjournment, this will become law.
So, after ng mga proseso sa both houses, as both Congress, sure po ba na approve na to ni
I
Presidente?
believe so, because in the last cabinet meeting, there was an overwhelming consensus for the need for the national ID system.
Okay.
And there's already a budget allotted in the 2018 budget for national ID.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last question na kay Secretary Roque. Pia.
Sir, sabi ng DICT, late June or July, basta before SONA po ma-announce yung third telco player, is the President okay with this timeline? Considering na sabi niya, first quarter of the year, dapat up and running na yung third player.
Whether or not he's happy, that's the reality. What can he do? At least he prompted, no, that actual steps be undertaken, leading to the announcement in June. Had he not exercised the political will, we would still have bickerings from the two duopoly, no, and machinations and orchestrations against the third telecoms.
May bago po ba siyang deadline na sineset for DICT?
Wala na po siyang deadline na sinet, no? Basta ang deadline niya March, then it was not met, then as soon as possible.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sige, meron
No more?
pa. One more.
Sige, Alvin.
Secretary, magandang umaga po. Sir, mukhang nagpa-interview na si dating General Manager Albi Tangkol ng MRT. Hingi na rin kami ng update tungkol doon sa whistleblower sa MRT tsaka yung mga documents na...
Hindi ko pa nakakausap si Alvi Tangkol. He is not obviously my whistleblower, as in fact he says my whistleblowers now are, I guess what he says is their testimonies are weak compared to his. I do not know what he has to say. But I am able to confirm that I had a meeting with the USEC for Legal for DOTR, and we will listen to what Alvi Tangkol has to say to corroborate the statements of whistleblowers that have already communicated with me. No?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, may follow-up ka? Jopel.
So, sir, may possibility na baka maging state witness
Hindi
din
ko pa
siya?
po alam. I do not know what
Kasi
he
baka
has to say.
Okay, sir.
Actually, I do not know what he has to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have a guest. Our guest for today is from the Office of the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Jonas George Soriano, is Deputy Executive Director and Assistant Secretary for Project Performance Management Office. He will share with us updates on the issues regarding the National Food Authority on behalf of Cabinet Secretary Leoncio Ivasco. Prior to his appointment, he was a supervising fellow, managing director at the Development Academy of the Philippines, where he led innovative degree programs, training certificates, and other consultancies of the academy. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, Pilipinas, let us all give a warm welcome to ASEC Jonas George Soriano.
Maayong buntag sa tanan. Nice to see you again. In behalf of our Cabinet Secretary June Ivasco, let me read his press statement. I would like to thank Secretary Harry L. Roque for allowing us to present the latest reaffirmations during the NFA Council, which met with the President on the 19th of March 2018 and conducted a special NFA Council meeting on the same day. Present during the meeting were the President were the following: President, of course, our President, and then Executive Secretary Salvador Campo Medeldia, DTI Secretary Ramon N. Lopez, NEDA Social Economic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia, Secretary Emmanuel F. Piñol. Representing DOF, Secretary Carlos Dominguez was Undersecretary Bayani H. Agabin. And then this included Bangko Sentral Pilipinas Governor Nestor Espinilla, Land Bank President Alex Beneventura, DBP Board Member Attorney Chodoro M. Humamil, and Farmer Representative Edwin Y. Paraluman. During and the subsequent special NFA Council meeting, where its members and Secretary Piñol also was there. So in the interest of transparency, accountability, ensuring rice and food security, and the NFA's council to safeguard the institution from graft and corruption, the National Food Authority Council, NFA, agreed and discussed the following points. First, even with the sufficient supply of rice for the entire country to date, the NFA management is directed to start the procurement process of the approved standby authority to import 250,000 metric tons to increase the current NFA rice inventory or buffer stock. The said rice import is set to arrive May of this year. This is to allow NFA to have enough buffer stock for the upcoming lean months of the year, in which the rice harvest is of the lowest. Second, the mode of procurement of the 250,000 metric ton standby authority will be government to private importation or open tender, in which the terms of reference will be the same as the previous government to private procurement of 2017. The reason of using the same TOR is to ensure immediate procurement of imported rice based on the guidelines of the procurement law. It is worth noting that the TOR includes the following: standardization of specifications of the rice produced to the Philippine Grain Standardization Program, specifications on the volume in metric tons and expansion of ports of arrival, ensuring the presence of NFA representative at the discharging point, provision for monitoring adherence to quality specifications, among others, at the origin and upon arrival. Third, the NFA Council emphasized the urgency to expedite the amendment of Republic Act No. 8178, otherwise known as the Agricultural Tarification Act of 1996. The said bill, when enacted into law, will protect local rice farmers from the lifting of qualitative restrictions on rice imports, and it will also provide the country additional income through higher tariffs for imported agricultural products, particularly rice, and allow for a more equitable supply of rice. In summary, the bill seeks to prescribe tariff rates for rice importation, strengthen the rice sector to meet the head challenges of import threats, and keep the Philippine food secure, provide funds to be allocated to the rice sector based on a rice industry roadmap with the following principles of rice industry competitiveness, farmers' profitability, and support focusing on the whole value chain and technologies oriented location, situation, and farmer-specific support services. Got that. It is also worth noting that the proceeds of the tariff will accrue to the government's Agricultural Enhancement Fund to be used for the farmers in the form of farmer service interventions and appropriate technology machines alike. As such, the Council is again requesting for Congress to pass the bill at the earliest possible time. Fourth, the NFA Council favors the conduct of a special audit of NFA's procurement and distribution operations. The audit shall be administered by the Commission on Audit so as to assess the current NFA operations, to determine points for improvement, streamline bottlenecks in the agency's procurement and distribution processes with the end goal of making NFA cost and operationally efficient. Fifth, with the continued arrival of imported rice through our commitments to the minimum access volume, the NFA Council has agreed that DTI shall work together with the NFA management to identify and tag rice imports under the minimum access volume so as to establish and ensure its affordability to the Filipino consumer. It was also agreed that DTI shall step up and intensify price monitoring to ensure unwarranted increases or even price manipulation in rice prices. Sixth, the Council directed NFA management to increase domestic buying of palay, especially during these early days of harvest, through creative strategies in the form of incentives or sweeteners for farmers to sell to NFA. The main thrust is to buy locally first, prior to considering importation. We must protect the farmers first. Seventh, through a report of the Department of Finance, it is worth noting that NFA continues to incur a net loss subsidy because of high interest rates and financial charges. Income from trading cannot cover the interest and financing costs. The same barely covers the other operating costs. As such, DOFA is proposing the following, reiterating the immediate passage of the Tarification Act to encourage private traders to participate in rice importation and allow the inflow of affordable rice to the market, limit NFA's role to buffer stocking for emergency and calamities, and transfer NFA's regulatory role to another appropriate body. Henceforth, subsidies to NFA will be limited to buffer stocks only. Aggressively implement measures to reduce the production cost of rice, such as mechanization, investment that will also yield increased yield, among others. 8, the Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary Pinjol, shared that the country is rearing itself towards rice self-sufficiency and has laid down the department plans and actions towards closing the gap through the following initiatives: improved competitiveness, increased farm income, ensured access to safe and nutritious rice, and enhanced disaster resiliency for rice farms. This must also include an ensured smooth transition of farmers and workers. The DA Secretary also called for better interagency connectivity between DA and related agencies on rice and agriculture production, as well as improving the budget for irrigation. Let me underscore that these discussions stated were in consideration of the necessary projections of the national rice inventory, current realities in the rice industry, and NFA's role in providing affordable rice in the country. In furtherance of transparency, the NFA has actually submitted itself to the different government institutions, the latest of which is the Senate. In this regard, let me thank Senator Cynthia Villar for her efforts at the Senate to look into the situation of the rice in the country, and we welcome a more extensive inquiry on the rice and the overall operations of NFA. Again, we would like to assure the public that the NFA Council is keen on ensuring continued supply of affordable rice for the Filipino people, while working hard, hand in hand, with other departments to ensure that the interests of the Filipino farmers and their families as part of President Rodrigo Duterte's commitment for a better Philippines and a comfortable life for the Filipinos. Thank you.
Okay, question, MPC? Sir, basahin ko lang question from Pia Reñada Propler, Cabinet Secretary Vasco said, Jason Aquino, NFA Administrator. Jason Aquino wanted amendments to terms of reference. What amendments daw po ito?
There are these amendments. I think I don't have the details on hand, so I cannot say specifically which amendments that they're seeking. But the council still decided to push for the TOR that was already discussed during the 2017 council meeting. So maybe later I'll try to provide some of the details of it. The details that will not have problems in terms of procurement, kasi of course this it's a bid, we cannot also reveal all of this so that we have a more a very good process for procurement.
Okay, thank you. MPC question, Belia Carriazo to be followed by Ace. Microphone, salamat.
Sir, good morning. Good
Good
afternoon.
morning, ma'am.
Sir, whatever happened do sa plan natin to audit yung mga warehouses ng mga traders, considering na despite nga na meron na tayong plan to import para ma-stabilize yung ating supply ng rice. Ano na nang nangyari dun sa plan natin noon? 'Di ba yun yung sinasabi ni Secretary Evasco noon?
The work of the NFA Council is bounded by how it does its work, which is policies. It has directed NFA management to do the necessary agreements made by the council. And to date, we know that NFA Administrator Jason is doing such. I just don't have the details on what has he gone to and which warehouses has he made audited.
So wala pong report na sinasubmit sa NFA Council ang NFA?
To date, wala pa. Again, we are reminded that this is part also of what we are trying to do. No? We have to make sure that as we enact the policy, we allow also management to do its work in terms of the day-to-day operations.
Okay, thank you. Ace Romero.
ASEC, can you elaborate on the audit that you are proposing, the auditing of NFA management operations?
Well, the idea really is to find out what's really happening in terms of the different warehouses and procurements on the field. The general idea is we'd like to find out and help NFA management, according to Secretary Vasco, in planning out the strategies for procurement. One thing that we're hearing, which he has always been proposing, is why don't we increase the price? But our problem is, once you increase the price, unlike oil, automatically when you increase the price of rice, talagang tataas ang mga presyo eh. So what's being decided upon is how can we help NFA management improve how they procure? Part of it will be looking at where do they buy, how much, at what time during the harvest season do they buy? Do they buy at the end of the season? Or did they buy before the start of the season? Kasi there's a difference when you start buying at the end. Normally, agawan na supply, mauuna talaga ang presyo. Second, we'd like to also try to understand the issues that NFA management is also saying. So that when the council comes out with the decision, it not only looks into what the NFA is saying, but looks also at the interests of the other players in the industry.
Is this a recognition that the management is not doing enough to curb, say, yung hoarding? Kasi nabanggit dati ni Secretary Evasco yun eh. They need to be more proactive in monitoring yung warehouses. Is this a recognition na merong konting or kung meron man na pagkukulang yung management?
It's more a recognition that NFA Council is supposed to be a body that really oversees how things are done. The recognition, kasi if you look at the past, and we were looking at how NFA Council was running, it wasn't as active as today. And when you look at it, I don't know, maybe that's a fact. In effect, baka hindi nga sanay na, meron board na tumitingin or may council. So it's part of NFA's council's role in trying to help ensure that when decisions are made coming from management, it also has a broader view of things.
Pero why the need to audit? Kasi you don't audit something kung wala kayo nakikitang problema. Meron ba kayo nakikitang problems with the way NFA is performing its tasks?
This issue of the lack of NFA rice is really something that both management and the council would really like to look at it together. It's hard if it comes from us. It's hard if it comes from management. So what we're saying is we want a body that both of us will look at, and usually it's normal in operations to audit.
So kailan mag-uumpisa yung audit and when do you expect to come up with the results?
Well, we're hoping that the NFA management can make already the necessary representations because this is already immediately needed. We don't want this issue of procurement to be a monthly occurrence. It's as if every 2 or 3 months, if not me, Secretary Evasco sees you. If not you, NFA administrator sees you. Because there's always been this issue. So what the council wants is further guidance, further elaboration on what things are, how things are being done at the field. And it will help if it comes from a third body.
Last na lang para sa akin. So, is it safe to say na yung naging issue ng supposed, yung balita na may shortage daw na eventually dinebunk nyo naman, nakapag-influence sa council to recommend that audit? Is it safe to assume that?
I don't know if it's safe to assume. Basta ang nangyari, nung pinag-uusapan yung issues about how to move forward in terms of procurement, and then pinag-usapan yung request for rice, pagtaas ng presyo ng ng palay. Part of the decisions that were made were so that we can look at it more squarely, let's get a third party to audit operations.
Okay, last question na tayo. Jaro Rosales.
Sir, tatanong ko lang, ilan na lang po yung buffer stock na available sa NFA ngayon?
According to NFA, the buffer stock is 1.15 days. This 1.15 days of buffer stock, meaning this is the supply of rice that's supposed to go to disaster-ridden areas. No? 1.15 days. So, I was looking for the exact translation of this 1.15 days to the number of days that it can actually supply the market. Alam mo, if you look at rice inventory, 3 groups have rice. The household itself, the ones that are selling it, and the one from NFA. NFA only manages 0.4% or 4% of the total distribution of rice. So, what is clear to us, assuming that all the rice, the household, the market, there's no rice, then NFA, and you have remaining 1.15 days of rice. I was told by our friends inside that, well, actually, that 1.15 days, we can stretch it to around 20 days. Because this 1.15 days is the buffer stock, and it's for the whole country in terms of the disaster that is being pushed. So,
But sir,
not being pushed, in order to save the people that we need for the rice that the areas need during disaster.
But sir, under the LEDAC, the NFA is required to maintain a stockpile of at least 15 days
Yes.
at any given time.
Last year, there was an approved procurement of rice, and this is still ongoing. It's going to finish hopefully by April and May. And then the approval of the standby importation was already authorized, as indicated in my first point. So hopefully this will cover even the necessary requirement by LEDAC. Ika nga, I remember yung sinabi ni Secretary Roque, I watched him. Ika nga, sabi ni Pangulo, mas maganda laging sobra, wag lang kulang. So, we're really looking into the details of this rice supply and making sure that by a certain time, we will be assured of that buffer stock. So, kailangan yung natitirang buffer stock of 1.15, it should be used only for the disaster-stricken areas.
So, last question for clarification lang, sa May na darating yung 250K or sa May matatapos yung procurement?
It's going to be a schedule. Ang balak is dapat by May dumating na. Kasi ang problema, if it hits June, July, magkakaproblema na naman tayo sa pricing eh. So ang parang habol, make it come earlier so that it doesn't affect the pricing of palay and rice. And where it's going to be used again as buffer stock. Not again to sell to the market.
Last follow-up. Nag-expect pa tayo ng bumper harvest ngayong season?
Ongoing siya.
Okay.
Ongoing siya. In fact, DA was really very ecstatic in telling us that they are already close to that rice self-sufficiency target. But as mentioned nga kanina, they are still moving and putting in some more things so that they can make sure it happens.
Okay,
Thank you.
last two. Three. Jeneline.
Talagang tinutuo mo talaga na dapat maraming questions sa dulo. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Did the President express his dismay or anger towards NFA Chief Jason Aquino during the meeting for creating the supposed rice shortage?
This is the nice thing.
panic over-
That is reserved for him. I cannot speak for the President.
You weren't there, sir. Sir, you weren't there during the meeting. You weren't there.
Well, I know the meeting proceeded accordingly. There was no expression.
So is it safe to assume that NFA Chief Aquino will remain in his post with the President's trust and confidence?
Well, he's still there. I don't think there's a problem as of date.
Walang pinagalitan.
Wala. Pero ang mas worried talaga siya. Parang yung maganda yung statement niya eh. Mabuti pang sobra kaysa kulang. Kasi pag inabutan tayo, problema yan.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Joseph.
Sir, napansin din po ni second spokesperson Manny Piñol. Joke lang. Na si Presidente wants to have coffee with the rice traders. Any updates on that? And why did he want to? Just for
That I
soundbite
don't
for-
have. Again, I cannot speak again for the President about that. I think it's more again Secretary Hari. Kasi during the meeting, that was not much discussed.
Okay. Sir, just to simplify, no, baka mamaya ma-spin and whatever. There's no rice shortage, yes?
No, there's no rice shortage.
Yung kumukuha tayo ng 250 MT just to fatten yung ating buffer stock
Yes.
na 1.15.
Yes.
Okay. Claro.
Okay, last question, Rose Novenario.
Hello.
I missed you, ma'am.
Hello, ganun. May ganun. Ay, sir, trabaho rin po ba ng konseho yung i-monitor yung pagtaas ng presyo ng bigas? Kasi po nung nagkaroon ng artificial rice shortage, parang sinamantalo po ito ng kartel na dire-diretso sila nagtaas ng presyo dahil wala nga yung NFA, rice.
Alam mo, the group that has the main role of that is really DTI. But since DTI is part of the council, there's a parang tulungan between DTI and NFA about this. But DTI has been doing its work. It's been monitoring. In fact, when NEDA did its computations, there was no rice price increase initially. It only started happening when all this buzz about shortage happened. After that, that's why ang ginagawa we're always asking DTI to make sure that they continue their work. And they've really been doing it in all areas in the Philippines.
At may maparusahan po.
That's up to really to DTI. That's really part of their work.
Okay, thank you, Rose. Thank you, ASEC Jonas Soriano. Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque.
As you can see, ASEC is giving Sal Panelo a run for the title of Best Dressed Executive in the Duterte administration. If there are no more questions, I will be on leave. Please direct all your questions to our Heads Up group. The OIC is ASEC Queenie. So ASEC Queenie will address all your requests for statements and clarifications. Senior Deputy Executive Secretary Maynard Guevara will be giving 2 press briefings on the first week of April. And if you want, there will be a press briefing before we go on Lent holiday with either Asa Queenie answering your questions or Director Attorney Marcel Seno answering your questions. I will see you on the 8th of... No, hindi na pala because I go with the President to a trip abroad. So, I will see you in the second week of April. He will be in Davao. Nasa Davao lang po ang ating presidente sa pagdating na Semana Santa at magkakaroon po siya ng mga trips matapos po ng Semana Santa.
Okay.
Alam niyo po, yung birthday ng presidente, ang ginagawa lang talaga niya sa birthday niya ay nagkukulong sa bahay. Pero baka po magkaroon ng pagdiriwang matapos po ang talagang araw ng kanyang birthday.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Presidential
Thank
Spokesperson
you.
Harry Roque. Thank you,
Bye.
Malacañang Press Corps, ASEC Soriano. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and People's Television Network.